You stare at the mirror, pulling back the skin near your eye, terrified by a new, deepening wrinkle. You blame the sun. You blame your diet. You assume your body is simply wearing down from gravity and the relentless passage of time. But that assumption is a biological illusion. Clinical hematology reveals that the exact speed at which your entire body decays is secretly governed by a microscopic, genetic barcode you were handed the second you were born, your blood type. Instead of just dictating who you can safely donate blood to in a hospital, your specific blood type acts as an invisible internal thermostat that either aggressively accelerates your vascular decay or actively shields your brain from cognitive death. Today, we are going to decode the microscopic locks circulating inside your veins to find out exactly which blood type ages the fastest and how to biologically outsmart your own genetic destiny. To understand how a simple letter A, B, AB, or O can control the biological clock ticking inside your cells, you have to completely change the way you view your own blood. We tend to think of blood as just red water, a passive fluid that sloshes around inside our veins. But your blood is not a liquid. It is a massive, highly complex 10-pound liquid organ. It is a sprawling biological highway system that touches every single tissue, every single muscle fiber, and every single neuron in your body. And floating inside this massive liquid organ are 25 trillion red blood cells. If you zoom in close enough, down to the microscopic surface of a single red blood cell, you will see that it is not smooth. The surface is covered in millions of tiny, complex sugar and protein structures sticking out like microscopic trees. These structures are called antigens. Think of these antigens as heavily encrypted security badges or chemical license plates. If you have type A blood, your red blood cells are covered in the A security badge. If you have type B, you have the B badge. If you have type AB, you inherited both badges, making your cells incredibly complex. And if you have type O blood, your cells are completely bald. The O actually stands for 0. You have 0 A or B antigens on your cells. For decades, medical science assumed these security badges only mattered when you needed a blood transfusion. If you put type A blood into a type B body, the immune system reads the wrong security badge, assumes it is a deadly parasite, and violently attacks it, causing the blood to instantly turn into a lethal, solid gel. But modern longevity researchers began noticing a terrifying, undeniable pattern in the data. They looked at massive populations of people in their 70s and 80s and realized that certain age-related diseases were not striking randomly. They were aggressively targeting specific blood types. The hematologist slid the thick file folder across the stainless steel table, pointing to a massive spike in a demographic chart. "Look at the cardiovascular decay in this cohort," he said, his voice dropping to a low, serious register. "We always assumed heart disease was just a product of high cholesterol and bad luck. But these patients are aging decades faster from the inside out, and almost all of them share the exact same antigens. Their blood isn't just delivering oxygen, it's actively tearing their blood vessels apart. This brings us to the most dangerous biological mechanism of the ABO gene, and the answer to which blood type ages the fastest. From a purely cardiovascular and cognitive standpoint, the fastest aging human beings on Earth are those with type A and type AB blood. To understand why type A and AB bodies break down faster, you have to look at the sheer physics of how their blood moves. Deep inside your circulatory system, you have a massive network of blood vessels. The inner lining of these vessels is called the endothelium. It is an incredibly delicate, single layer of cells designed to be perfectly smooth, allowing blood to rush through with zero friction. But if you have type A or type AB blood, your blood possesses a terrifying chemical property. You naturally produce 25 to 30% more of a specialized clotting protein called von Willebrand factor, alongside higher levels of coagulation factor 8. Think of von Willebrand factor as microscopic, biological Velcro. It is designed to help your blood clot instantly if you get a deep cut. In a prehistoric environment where you might be attacked by a wild animal, Having high levels of this Velcro is a massive evolutionary advantage. It stops you from bleeding to death. But in the modern, sedentary world, this biological Velcro is a catastrophic liability. Because type A and AB individuals have so much of this sticky protein constantly floating in their bloodstream, their blood is physically thicker and more viscous. As this heavy, sticky blood forces its way through the delicate endothelial lining of your arteries, it creates a massive amount of mechanical friction. It physically drags against the walls. Over years and decades, this friction creates microscopic tears in the inner lining of your blood vessels. Your immune system senses these microscopic tears and panics. It sends macrophages, specialized immune cells, to patch the holes. But as these macrophages try to fix the damage, they end up getting stuck in the thick, viscous blood, pulling in circulating cholesterol and calcium. They form a hardened patch over the tear. This is arterial plaque. This is biological rust. This is the exact physical reality of premature aging. You do not just suddenly wake up old. Aging is the slow, relentless suffocation of your microcirculation. If you have type A or AB blood, this invisible rust builds up much faster. You physically feel this happening in your everyday life. When you try to go for a run, your heart has to pump exponentially harder just to push that thick, sticky blood through your restricted, rusted arteries. You feel a deep, heavy fatigue in your legs. Your hands and feet might feel constantly cold because the blood simply cannot reach the tiny capillaries at your extremities. Your joints begin to ache and stiffen because the cartilage is no longer receiving a steady, pressurized flow of lubricating nutrients. Your outer skin loses its elasticity and begins to sag, completely starved of the deep subcutaneous blood flow required to build new collagen. But the damage of this biological Velcro doesn't stop at your heart or your skin. What happens when this thick, sticky blood attempts to travel up your neck and into your skull is a phenomenon that permanently changes your identity. Your brain is the most metabolically demanding organ in your body. To keep it alive, it is packed with a sprawling network of roughly 400 miles of tiny, microscopic blood vessels. Some of these capillaries are so narrow that a single red blood cell has to physically fold itself in half just to squeeze through. If you have type AB blood, the rarest blood type in the world, found in less than 5% of the population, your incredibly high levels of von Willebrand factor make these tiny cerebral capillaries a massive hazard. Because the blood is so prone to clotting, microscopic, microthrombi, tiny, invisible blood clots begin to form deep inside the white matter of your brain. These microclots act like tiny dams, completely blocking blood flow to highly localized clusters of neurons. Those neurons, starved of oxygen, quietly die. You do not feel a stroke. You do not fall to the ground. This is a silent, microscopic assassination. But over decades, these thousands of tiny blockages accumulate. Clinical neurological studies have shown that individuals with type AB blood have a staggering 82% higher risk of developing cognitive decline and dementia compared to other blood types. As the brain tissue is repeatedly starved of oxygen, the actual physical volume of the brain begins to shrink. The neural pathways responsible for memory retrieval, emotional regulation, and deep focus begin to wither away. You start misplacing your keys more often. You struggle to find the right word in the middle of a sentence. You assume it is just the inevitable brain fog of getting older. But it is not inevitable. It is the mechanical consequence of sticky blood suffocating your own neuroanatomy. So, if type A and type AB are the fastest aging biological vehicles, it seems obvious that the people with the longest lifespans must be the universal donors, type O. If you have type O blood, your red blood cells are completely bald. Because you lack the A and B antigens, your body produces significantly less von Willebrand factor. Your blood is naturally thinner. It flows through your arteries like a clear, fast-moving river. The sheer mechanical friction on your endothelium is massively reduced. Consequently, type O individuals have a dramatically lower risk of developing deep vein thrombosis, fatal blood clots, and severe cardiovascular disease. From a purely vascular standpoint, type O is the biological holy grail of anti-aging. But the human body is a universe of trade-offs. Type O blood is not invincible. While their hearts and brains might remain youthful and highly functional, their rapid biological decay happens in a completely different, deeply painful system. It starts as a dull, gnawing burn just beneath your sternum. You wake up in the middle of the night with a sharp, acidic ache in your stomach. You assume you just ate something highly processed, or you are carrying too much stress from work. But what you are actually experiencing is a highly targeted, microscopic bacterial invasion that your specific blood type is entirely defenseless against. Because type O red blood cells lack the A and B antigens, the complex sugars that make up their cell surface are completely exposed. Deep inside your stomach lining, there is an ancient corkscrew-shaped bacterium called Helicobacter pylori. This bacterium has co-evolved with humanity for hundreds of thousands of years, but it has a terrifying preference. H. pylori actively hunts for the specific exposed sugars found on type O cells. When this bacterium enters your digestive system, it physically latches onto the gastric lining of a type O stomach with the grip of a microscopic vice. Once attached, it begins secreting highly toxic, inflammatory enzymes that actively burn a hole through the protective mucosal layer of your stomach. This is exactly why individuals with type O blood have a massive, disproportionately high risk of developing severe gastric ulcers and deep-seated systemic inflammation. And this is where the physical sensation of aging catches up to the type O body. When your gut lining is chronically inflamed by this bacterial warfare, it triggers a massive systemic immune response. Your immune system becomes hyperactive, constantly searching for threats. Over time, this hyperactive immune response begins to attack your own tissues. If you are type O, you are far more susceptible to autoimmune-driven aging. Your joints swell and ache not from poor blood flow, but from chronic inflammatory cytokines destroying your cartilage. Your thyroid function may begin to plummet, causing your metabolism to completely crash and locking you in a state of deep, unshakable fatigue. You survive the heart attack, but you age through the slow, agonizing erosion of your own internal tissues. As we stare into this genetic mirror, a massive, overarching question emerges. If these blood types carry such devastating, specific weaknesses, why would evolution allow them to exist at all? Why wouldn't nature just optimize the human race to have one perfect, indestructible blood type? The answer is found in the brutal, unforgiving history of human survival. Blood types are not a mistake. They are an evolutionary war record. Millions of years ago, all human ancestors likely had the exact same blood type. But as humanity began to migrate across the globe, stepping into new environments and facing terrifying new microscopic predators, a single, uniform biology became a massive liability. If a new virus emerged that was perfectly adapted to attach to that single blood type, the entire human species would be wiped off the face of the earth in a single generation. Evolution required biological diversity to act as a firewall against extinction. Genetic mutations occurred, giving rise to the A and B antigens. These new blood types were violently tested by nature. During the horrific outbreaks of the bubonic plague and deadly cholera epidemics, the bacteria specifically targeted people with type O blood. Entire villages of type O individuals were eradicated. But the people with type A and type B blood had slightly different security badges on their cells. The plague bacteria could not latch on as easily. They survived, passing their sticky, fast-aging blood down to their children. Conversely, in tropical environments ravaged by malaria, the opposite occurred. The malaria parasite causes red blood cells to stick together in massive lethal clumps. Because type A and B blood is already incredibly sticky, a malaria infection was an instant death sentence. But type O individuals with their thin, slick, bald blood cells were able to resist the clumping. They survived the malaria zones. Your blood type is the literal biological armor that allowed your specific ancestors to survive the deadliest plagues in human history. The fact that it causes you to age slightly faster in the modern world is simply a side effect of a prehistoric survival strategy. Evolution does not care what you look like when you are 80 years old. It only cares that you live long enough to pass on your genes. But as this genetic reality settles into your mind, a dangerous, deeply ingrained societal myth tries to offer you a fake biological shortcut. You remember a massive best-selling book from 20 years ago. The internal monologue kicks in. Wait, if my blood type controls my biology, I just need to eat the blood type diet. If I am type A, I must be a strict vegan. If I am type O, I must eat massive amounts of raw meat. That will stop the aging process. This is one of the most pervasive, highly profitable misconceptions in the modern wellness industry, and it is entirely false. We must break this myth right now. The myth states that the specific lectins, the proteins found in food, will violently react with your blood type if you eat the wrong diet, causing your blood to clump together and rot your body from the inside. The scientific reality is that clinical trials have completely dismantled this theory. Researchers took thousands of individuals of all different blood types and placed them on the various diets. The results were shocking. It didn't matter what blood type you were. If you ate the plant-heavy, nutrient-dense type A diet, your cardiovascular markers improved. If you ate the high-protein, low-processed carb, type O diet, your metabolic markers improved. The people on the blood type diet did not get healthier because they were matching their food to their antigens. They got healthier because they completely stopped eating highly processed junk food, refined sugars, and inflammatory seed oils. You cannot change the specific biological weaknesses of your blood type by completely avoiding tomatoes or dairy, but you can utterly transform the speed at which you age by directly treating the specific mechanical flaws your blood type gives you. This is the ultimate practical application of genetic science. You are not a helpless victim bound to a biological timeline. You are the commander of an incredibly sophisticated machine, and now you have the owner's manual. If you know you are type A or type AB, you must accept that your blood is inherently sticky. Your absolute primary mission in life is constant, mechanical vascular maintenance. You must aggressively integrate Zone 2 cardiovascular exercise into your daily routine. The sustained, elevated heart rate forces your blood vessels to produce massive amounts of nitric oxide, a powerful vasodilator that forces your arteries to expand and remain perfectly smooth, directly neutralizing the friction of the von Willebrand factor. You must flood your system with high-quality omega-3 fatty acids from wild-caught fish or algae, which physically thin the blood plasma and prevent the microclots from forming in your brain. If you know you are type O, you must accept that your cardiovascular system is pristine, but your gastrointestinal lining is highly vulnerable. Your anti-aging strategy has absolutely nothing to do with avoiding meat. It is entirely about ruthless gut protection. You must consume highly potent, living fermented foods to build a massive, thick colony of protective microbiome bacteria to physically crowd out and destroy any H. pylori invasions. You must protect your mucosal lining with amino acids like L-glutamine and avoid chronic use of NSAID pain relievers, which actively burn away the only biological shield you have against your own hyperactive immune system. As you stand there, looking at your reflection in the mirror once again, the deep, terrifying mystery of aging begins to fade into sharp, actionable focus. For years, you have been fighting a completely blind war against your own body. You assumed that getting older, feeling stiff, losing your memory, and running out of energy were just the tragic, unavoidable consequences of being human. You felt like you were just waiting for a random, catastrophic failure of your internal organs. But this exploration of your own biology proves that this fear is entirely misplaced. You are not decaying randomly. You are simply operating a highly specific, ancient biological vehicle that comes with an exact, predictable set of vulnerabilities. When you ignore those vulnerabilities, you accelerate the rust, you tear the lining, and you suffocate the brain. But when you finally understand the exact mechanical nature of your own blood, you can deploy the precise biological interventions required to completely reverse the damage. You possess, circulating through your veins right now, the exact genetic code that survived the absolute darkest, most brutal moments in human history. You do not have to accept the default speed of aging. You just need to read the barcode, manipulate the machinery, and teach your ancient blood how to thrive in the modern world. Thank you for joining us today on Health Insight as we dive deeper into your wellness journey. If you found these tips valuable, please give this video a thumbs up to help us reach more people. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to stay updated on all things health. We want to make sure our next video covers exactly what you need to know. Drop a comment below and tell us what health topic or medical mystery you'd like us to explore next. Until next time, stay proactive, stay informed, and stay healthy.